Welcome to another episode of Coding with Codeman S. Alright, that's enough fun. Alright, so now we're doing 7Q Sum Even Numbers. This is by JMPP, and 92% of people like it. We're going to complete the function that takes a sequence of numbers as a single parameter. Our function must return the sum of the even values of this sequence. Only numbers without decimals like 4 or 4.0 can be even. The input is a sequence of numbers, integers, and or floats. So basically we're going to get an array. We're going to take all the evens out of it, and we're going to add them together. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 equals 30. This array has nothing in it, so it's going to equal 0. Alright, so we could do some stuff here. We could go over here and we could say let even equal an empty array. We could come down here and say 4. Let I equal 0 while I is less than input dot length I plus plus. So we're going to iterate through the array input. We'll say even dot push input at, no we're not. We'll come over here and we're going to say if input at the current index divided by 2 has no remainder. Alright, if if the current index of input remainder operator 2 equals 0, which means it's even. If it's even, we're going to say even dot push input at the current index. Well, let's come down here. Let's say console.log even. Let's see what it looks like right now. Test it out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That looks good for right now. Now we got to add these all together. So why don't we change this to result, turn this into a 0, and then push result plus equals input at the current index, and then say console.log result. Let's test it out. 30. That looks good. All right. Let's get rid of this console.log. Let's say return result. Let's test it out. Green. Looks good, but you know what? I didn't open these for nothing, okay? I didn't open filter and reduce just to have them up there, all right? We're going to come over here. We're going to say const sum even numbers equals input, and then we're going to delete the rest of this, put an arrow right there, making it concise syntax, put a console.log right here so it's easy to test while we go, and we're going to say input. Let's test that out. Now gives us the array, all right? Now to get the evens into an array of its own, like we did at first, we're going to use this filter method that creates a shallow copy of a portion of a given array filtered down to just the elements from the given array that pass the test implemented by the provided function. That being said, what we're going to do is we're going to put a function inside of the little parentheses where the filter goes, and that function is going to sort out whatever we want and put it into a new array. So we're going to have filter, the element right here, the argument right here, which really just use element 2. We're going to have the arrow, and then we're going to have an expression right there. So we're going to say input.filter, and we're going to say element, and for each element we're going to test it to see if element remainder operator 2 equals 0, and if it does, it's going into a new array. Let's test it out. And it does. Check it out. Now we're going to sum these all up by using this reduce method, which executes a user-supplied reducer callback function on each element of the array in order, passing in the return value from the calculation on the preceding element. The final result of running the reducer across all elements of the array is a single value. Perhaps the easiest to understand case for reduce is to return the sum of all the elements in an array. And that's what we're going to do. All right, so basically we're going to have right here this arrow function syntax. We're going to have reduce here. the previous value, which is basically the sum, and the current value, which is the current index. And then we're going to have an arrow right there, and then an expression doing this. All right, so let's come over here, dot reduce, and we're going to have inside here, prev for previous value, let's call this sum. All right, and then curve for current value, let's call this element. All right, and let's bring this down one so that we can save some space. All right, and so we're going to say sum plus element. Element. There we go. So on the first one, there's going to be no sum, so we don't have to do anything. And then it's going to be, so the first sum is going to be this one. And then it's going to add this one to it. And then the next sum is going to be 3 plus this one, not this one, this one. First one, 2. 2 plus 4, 6. 6 plus 6, 12. And then it's going to keep going. And let's prove it by pushing test. 30 looks good. Let's take this out of here. Let's take this out of here. Let's bring this back just to see if it fit. Ah, it did. Cool. And let's test it out. Good. And attempt it. There we go. And submit it. All right. And you see here, pretty much did what we did. The syntax a little different, but it's pretty much the exact same. Right here is another way to do things, and you could go quite a while before finding it the for loop way. But anyway, let's go over to mine. Just me on this one, best practice in my opinion. Very much like it, and we'll see you next time. Ooh, see you next time.